Now, can you imagine what would happen, what would really happen if Israel did it, pulled off an attack on Iran's rumored nuclear sites? Now, they've been conducting lots of military exercises, raising lots of questions, answering with the customary lots of, we don't comment on lots of rumor comments. But what if they really did strike? Former National Security Advisor Robert Bud McFarlane here, looking very closely at this situation. But what would happen?
Well, I think today you're seeing that Israel is serious about this, that they are practicing, that they really know how to do this. They're trying to send a signal to the Iranian president, Ahmadinejad, that there's a price to pay, possibly, for the shrill rhetoric that he's been spewing out about wiping Israel off the map.
But he keeps saying it.
Well, I think they're also sending a signal to us, Neil, and that is that going back to when the CIA said that the Iranians had discontinued their nuclear program, they're getting worried about us. We don't seem to have a program that will have any effect in deterring or neutralizing the Iranian nuclear program. And so they're saying, America, get with it. If you don't do something about this, we will.
I think you're exactly right, Robert. I do think, too, that they're kind of blessed, maybe by timing. Maybe they figure, look, President Bush is on his way out. He'll huff and puff and scream at us and get all annoyed, but we can do what we want. We're going to get this global outcry, but we can do what we want. We figure that the shorter-term angst is better than the longer-term threat of the Iranians having nuclear weapons. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that there are some people in Iran who are not keen on Ahmadinejad's shrillness and isolation of the country. And so Israel is hoping that maybe they can bolster those people. But I do think there's no question that Israel is very disappointed in American policy. It has no gravitas or element of strength to it. And they're genuinely worried about the continued pace that's accelerating in recent weeks of the Iranian program. This is
but, you know, cynically, though, Robert, you could look at what's going on with Prime Minister Olmert, who's involved for good or ill in the middle of a corruption scandal that could get him thrown out of office. Some could cynically look at this as a great diversion away from that.
Well, it is true that it is a good political issue right now. Both Netanyahu and Ehud Barak, the defense minister, have been very strong in saying to Iran that we will deal with you one way or another to eliminate this program. And so it is the right kind of political record or rhetoric right now in Israel.
But let me ask you about it. I think Iran has sort of a twisted kind of a glee with this. And my point is, do you remember it was a couple of years back when there were those British soldiers seized, I think at the Strait of Hormuz, right? It was right near, they claimed an Iranian naval space. And oil jumped throughout that hostage crisis, if you will. And the Iranians were actually profiting off of it. So this bellicose talk out of Israel, and even these exercises out of Israel, whether conducted or ultimately finished or not, Iran's are getting richer off of them, right?
Well, it is true that any time shrill rhetoric between two hostile parties occurs, it's going to give you a spike and probably an elevated plateau in oil, notwithstanding the meeting this weekend coming up of the OPEC counselors that promised to increase production. I think it would be outweighed by this dust-up between Israel and Iran.
Do you think
prices are going to go up?
Yeah, actually, you're probably right on that. Do you think this meeting this weekend is a waste of time?
Well, it's kind of look at us, we're good guys, Saudi move. But I don't think it's going to make a material difference. And in any event, it will be outweighed by this Israeli exercise, and prices are going to go up next Monday.
Boy, you're just chock full of good news, aren't you, bud? No, seriously, very good seeing you, my friend. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Neil.
Robert Bud McFarlane, former National Security Advisor. another Fox News alert for you to another summer storm. Iran reportedly trying now to brew in Iraq. According to a British newspaper today, Iran wants to team up with al-Qaeda and Sunni militias to launch a summer offensive to help sway members of Congress presently off the fence and vote out of Iraq. With us now is Michael Evans, author of The Final Move Beyond Iraq. And on the phone is Brigitte Gabriel, the author of Because They Hate. Michael, what do you make of what they're up to here?
Well, Neil, it's exactly what we talked about last fall when I brought up the fact that Iran was going to increase the surge to try to get the Democrats in the midterm. We broke it on your show, and in fact, that's exactly what they did. They're up to it again. I just got back from Iraq. The Iraqi government officials told me the exact same thing. It's extremely serious, and we're really in trouble with this mess. You know,
Brigitte, what's different this time is Iran's really not denying it that much. Yesterday, the supreme leader all but saying, hey, we're doing everything we can to kick the Americans out. And now these reports today. What do you make of that?
Well, Iran is also playing the media. They are seeing the perception because of their PR tactic over the last 2-3 years. They realize that they have established themselves as a great, credible, big threat in the region, not only to America and Western nations, but as well to the Middle Eastern nations. Iran is planning on ratcheting up their attacks also for two reasons in Iraq. First, we are coming up on an election. They want to ensure that the Democrats are going to vote out our troops out of Iraq for two reasons. First, in order to make it possible for Iran to control the region, and second, because they know as long as we have our troops in Iraq, we will enable Israel to use the Iraqi airspace in order for Israel to blow up or attack the Iranian nuclear plants in Iran. The only way Israel will be able to get to Iran is via the Iraqi airspace, and if we withdraw out of there, it will make it much more possible for Israel to launch that attack. Iran wants to finish the nuclear bomb, and Iran will do everything it can to make that possible by driving the Americans out of Iraq.
All right, Mike, we had Benjamin Netanyahu here yesterday who says that Iran is very close to having that capability and the world's ignoring it. Do you buy that?
Yes, I know him very well. I recommended him for his first job under Begin. He told me it was an existential threat. It is, in fact. Neil, listen, Memorial Day, the United States is going to have tea with the terrorists in Baghdad. It's the first meeting since 1979, and it's extremely dangerous. We're sending signals to Iran that they're winning and that we're afraid of them. And what we don't understand about these guys is these guys take it serious. When they see us playing these little diplomatic cards, they hit us, and they hit us hard. Listen, I'm being told by a lot of the intel that they're planning something else besides proxy surge in Iraq, but a proxy surge in the U.S., using Hezbollah to send them into the United States to begin terrorist attacks in the United States, asymmetrical.
All right, Brigitte, real quickly then, if you know you've got a lot of wayward Congress members on the fence, is this the stuff that pushes them off?
The Democrats, yes, this is the stuff that pushes them off, and they need to start paying attention to what's happening around the world. You mentioned also about Britain today. A security analyst told a meeting at Britain Parliament today that Iran is attempting to draw up plans to strike targets in Europe and has conducted reconnaissance of European nuclear power stations. They are spreading their tentacles and their operations all across the globe, not only in the Middle East, not only in Europe, but as well as the United States. The Congress and the United States have a duty to pay attention and connect the dots. Something we failed to do before 9/11.
All right, Brigitte and Mike, great having you both again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Neil.